welcome. My name is Dorima Hamilton, and I'm the Executive Director of Ideal CDC. We're a nonprofit located in East Los Angeles, serving our community through education. We're so happy and excited that you will be joining us here today for this amazing workshop that, we've partnered with some of our colleagues in the community that are providing these resources for those of you that are business owners that are looking to take advantage of the different programs that the city is putting out for those that have a restaurant and our street vendors. So we're really excited that you're joining us today. I'm very excited that these two lovely women are joining us today to educate us on how we can leverage all these opportunities that are presented to us in this unprecedented time that no one could have foreseen, but we're fortunate that we have technology to continue to bring these resources to you from the comfort of your home or to your business, right? And so we're just very glad that technology has allowed for us to do that. We're fortunate that during these times we have social media, we have Zoom, we have Google Hangout or Google Meet. And we're just really excited that because of that, it's made it easier for us to bring these resources, bring these workshops to you directly. And so, with everything going on, we are always looking for new and exciting ways, different ways that you can continue operating your business. We know it can be very challenging right now, very, stressful with not knowing what's going to happen with your business, not having the income come in as, you were planning to for this year. I know a lot of us at the beginning of the year, 2020 is our year. 2020 is where we're going to achieve this, this, and this. And then all this happened, right? And we just had no idea. But, thankfully we have technology. Thankfully we have partners in our community that can empower and educate us on how we can leverage and continue our program, continue to provide our services and our products to our community. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce our good friend Claudia Shah from the SBDC and my new friend Angelica Urquijo. She is with the Imagen group, but at this time I would like to let these ladies introduce themselves and say hello to everybody. So go ahead, Claudia.
Thank you, Dorima. Thank you very much to Ideal CDC for all the support that you guys give to the community. And today we have the pleasure of having Angelica Urquijo with us from the Imagen Group. We have already worked with Angelica in the past and we have done this workshop before, but this time Ideal CDC was like, we want to do this too. We want to offer it to our
Yeah.
group and community and all that. So we were like, okay, fine, let's do it. We want to empower you and we want to bring, like Dorima was saying, it's a hard time for a lot of the small business owners. We want to bring this opportunity to all of you to understand a little bit better about how street vending works and the new program that they have they call Al Fresco. It's mainly for restaurants. So Angelica is our expert. She will tell you all about it. I just want to tell you about the SBDC a little bit so you guys get to know us. I know a lot of you are already our clients, know that we help you with all your loan requirements with the PPP and EIDL and the SBA loans that everybody's like trying to get right now. We also help you with the county grants. So we are here to support the small business owner in any area, not only in these loans, but also to go be able to thrive with your business. So please give us a call. Everything is for free. We don't charge a dime for any of our advising. We will help you with licenses, with permits to open the business, to move forward, social media marketing, government contracting, whatever you need. So this support that we will give you with the street vending and the alfresco is that if you're not prepared to move forward with this or you have questions, you can come to us before going to any of the business or centers that Angelica is going to explain a little bit more about that because we're different. We are county, so we can cover the whole entire LA County and business or centers will be covering just the city. I know this is for the LA city, but we can help you find out how we can do it for your other cities and counties. So with further ado, I will just give the word to Angelica so she can explain who she is, what she does. But just so you know, we're here to support you. We're also going on Facebook Live. I don't know if Dorima mentioned that, but we're all on Facebook Live right
Yes.
now with all in our pages, Ideal CDC, Centro de Negocios, SBDC LA. So
Yes.
the information is out there.
Yes, and if you can do us a favor, hit the share button so that if you have friends and other family members or perhaps other business owners that don't know about this workshop, hit the share button because that'll get the word out, help educate our community, and you can support your community too by letting them know that there's resources out there available for them. So hit that share button, like it, comment on our comments below if you have any questions, but also let us know what kind of business you have. And I would love to see, throughout our workshop today, what kind of businesses we're serving here today. But anyway, I would like to give time to Angelica to come on and introduce herself, introduce her, what she does, who she is, who she represents, and introduce our subject for today.
Thank you so much. And yes, through the power of social media, we're all connected and united, and more importantly, we're staying safe. And thank you to the SBDC and to Dorima and her team for providing this platform for our community. And yes, it's about uncovering new opportunities. When 2020 started, we probably thought we're going to be following a different path. Some people might have never even thought about being a sidewalk vendor and the opportunities that could be available. But now, unfortunately, because of what we're dealing with the pandemic, but unfortunately, too, there are opportunities that have been created for our individuals, entrepreneurs, to be selling things that are essential items. So I'm very honored to be working along with the team from Streets LA. They're part of the Department of Public Works with the City of LA. And they actually are the ones that are overseeing the program, the Sidewalk Vending program, which kicked off the beginning of 2020. So through this presentation, and we'll take a look at some of the items that we're going to be covering in the presentation today, we'll have a number of things they'll be covering. If we can go on to the next slide, please, we'll take a look at what our items that we'll be covering will be today. First of all, why it's essential to get the permit. We'll go through a step-by-step look at the procedures. So first we'll start with the City of LA, which is the BTRC permit. Second is the seller's permit through the city and the state of California. You'll also be securing a health permit if you are going to be selling some of your delicious food. And then ultimately the vendor permit through the City of LA. There are multiple places that you could actually access free information. We'll talk about that. We're going to close out with the frequently asked questions and answers, any updates on our program, and then we're going to cover the new LA Al Fresco program, which enables our street vendors to also be able to participate along with our restaurants in the city of Los Angeles. So a lot of good information. And all this is being recorded so that you'll be able to then review it later. You'll also be able to access information on the vending website, which has a copy of our resource guide. So let's take a look at what it's going to be entailed in attaining your permit. As we said earlier, there are plenty of resources in the city of Los Angeles to be able to assist you. We want you to take a look at the screen, identify which of those 8 sites would be most convenient to where you live, where you work. At each one of those locations is a counselor that will be able to walk you through the process of completing the requirements to attain a vendor permit. As you know, right now, many government offices, including many of these offices here, are actually closed to walk-in consultation, but you're able to set up Zoom calls. You're able to then drop off material that you might have to, and be able to get the counseling that you need from one of these 8 resource centers. So what is actually offered? Lots of information, as I shared, available to our community. Extensive technical assistance to vendors, such as understanding the permit requirements and assistance through the whole process. Information on access to capital, including the referrals to the city's microloan program to purchase equipment that you might need. Also, small business development information and planning and management. Also, marketing, information on banking and financial literacy, procurement of the proper liability insurance, and there's a dreaded taxes, but you need to know about taxes, cash management, and then how to tap into electronic payment acceptance, which is something that we're all going to be really focusing on moving forward. So here's a look, here's the path that you're going to be following the process to secure a vendor permit. We wanted just to see a visual of the stops that you will be making along the way. Again, this diagram, this information is found inside of what we call the vendor resource guide. And that resource guide is in 13 languages. So you'll be able to access this on the City of LA vending site. So as we go on to the second slide, we'll be able to see this is what you need before you can start any of this process is your ID, right? You're going to need to bring along the photo ID. So that photo ID could be anything from your driver's license, a California ID, your passport, consular ID. In addition to the ID, you also will need to have the taxpayer number. So that could be one of two things. It would be your social security number, or it's your ITIN number, the individual taxpayer identification number. So those are the two things that you will need before you start the process. So the individual taxpayer identification number. In the event that you do not have an ITIN and you need to secure one, these are the steps that you're going to follow. First, you're going to file Form W7. That's the application for the IRS individual taxpayer identification with your federal income tax return. That would have been with 2019 if you have not already filed that. Second, you must also provide original documentation or certified copies from the issuing agency to provide identity and foreign status. So that's the copy of the photo ID. Now, you can get assistance, as I said earlier, those business resource centers are really going to be invaluable. You can either go online and identify an IRS Vita Center, or you can have one of the counselors at the business resource center assist you and walk you through the process in acquiring the ITIN if you need to get an ITIN. So before we start the process and before you connect with one of the counselors, you're going to then determine, if I'm not already selling, what is it that I want to sell? Do I want to be a food vendor? Do I want to sell those delicious recipes? Or do I want to sell some essential items? Do I want to sell some face coverings, gloves, t-shirts, caps? That's going to determine the path that you're going to take. So as you can see, those that are going to be securing a vendor permit, it is a little bit more lengthy process, but we will walk you through what those steps are. And ultimately, both, whether you're getting a food permit or a merchandise permit, you'll actually have to receive the vendor permit from the City of LA, and we'll walk you through that process. Okay, as I said earlier, getting started and securing the permit is by determining whether you're going to turn in your social security number, your ITIN number, identifying which one of the 8 business source centers, and there's our breakdown, right? Determining what you're going to be selling. On the left, the merchandise vendor, you're going to start off first with the BTRC. That's through the City of LA, the Department of Finance. The seller's permit, you're going to receive that from the state of California. And then ultimately at the end, you receive the vendor permit from the Streets LA team. To the right, if you're a food vendor, the only difference is that you're actually going to be adding the public health permit, and we'll walk you through that process in just a bit. And as I said earlier, because of the stay-at-home order, most offices, including those at the City of LA, the state, and the county, are actually closed to people walking into their offices. But thanks to the beauty of technology, much of what we need to do in walking through this process can actually be done online. So whether you choose to do that yourself or whether you're going to get the assistance of the folks from the Business Source Center. But just for your information in the future, if you need to stop in, these are the locations for the BTRC. The main office is there at City Hall on Spring Street. There's also a location in Van Nuys and West Los Angeles. Down below, you'll see the link to the site where you can apply for the BTRC online. And this process, again, is typically very simple. You will receive something back via email within that day. And then in the mail, you'll get your hard copy of the BTRC for your records. So once you've completed that, then we move on to the seller's permit. And this is through the state of California. And it's through the Department of Tax and Fee Administration. Most people refer to it as the CDTFA. And so again, people here will not be walking in person. They will be calling. They will be actually going online to the CDTFA site to be able to get that information and how to start the process, whether it be your I-10, your social security number, and then the other documents that are required. Right now, just as a side note, for individuals that are selling or choose to sell items that are essential items, there's actually some tax breaks that you will not be having to pay taxes on certain items. So I recommend people to contact them directly to find out about those advantages for people that are selling essential items right now. So some of us are visual people, and we can see here the process much easier than if we see it on a larger scale. So to the left is the process for acquiring the vendor permit. As I said, you get the permits. You start with the Department of Finance, then you secure your seller's permit from the state. If you're going to be selling food, you're going to require that actual health permit from LA County. So how that begins is by getting your food cart approved. There's an approval process from that. And that starts with submitting 2 sets of very detailed plans. You're going to be then completing a plan check application. And then when everything is approved, crossing our fingers, then you pay the plan check fee. And that is your process for securing the vendor permit through LA County. So a public health permit, why is it needed and what kinds of vehicles are actually secured? Well, as you see here, they come in various shapes and sizes. But each one of these, because you're going to be selling food in the community, require a vendor permit, a health department permit. And so there's 2 different types of food that people will be selling, either prepackaged or unpackaged food. So prepackaged food has already been wrapped by a manufacturing company. That could be something like your potato chips. It could be ice cream that's already in a little plastic wrap. It could be your can of a soft drink, whatever your choice is, Pepsi or Coke. Unpackaged food isn't made by people out in the community. So those of you making the delicious pupusas, os taquitos, hot dogs, pretzels, those would be considered unpackaged, and they're having minimal preparation in the community. So as I said earlier, the process is a little bit more lengthy. Generally, it could take up to 4 weeks to secure your public health permit with LA County. So this is what the first application that you're going to be completing, what that looks like. And we share it here so that you get familiarized with what they're going to be requiring. So it's required and issued for the cart and not the individual. That's the difference between the permit that you're going to be securing, the public health permit, because it could be a family that has 5 individuals or a business that has 3 different carts and I have multiple employees. So in this case, we're going to be permitting the actual cart itself, not the individual. So it doesn't matter who's taking up the cart to sell the pupusas today. Today's the mom, tomorrow the sister. It's really the focus here being the cart, and we'll talk later how that varies from some of the other permits. So as we said earlier, you're going to turn in the applications and then go through the whole process, the application check and moving forward. Now, once you've done that, then you go through the process of the permitting, of getting that approved. Then you actually then work with the folks from inspection. They will then, you've built the cart to the specifications approved in your plan. You're going to call ahead to the plan check program to schedule that final inspection. And as you can see there right now, the location that they have is in Baldwin Park. They are looking for some alternate locations as well. They're at 5050 Commerce Drive. Now the plan check will conduct the final inspection of the mobile food cart to verify that the cart was built to specifications. So this is not the time to decide, you know what, I forgot to add this, or you know what, I don't need to have this on the cart. It's too big, it's too cumbersome. No, we don't want to make any modifications, because if you make any modifications to that cart, any modifications to the plans that are already approved, then those plans are kicked back and you've got to start all over again. So through that process, another possible 4 weeks. So don't make any modifications. So here are the locations for the plan check offices. You have 3 locations to choose from, whichever is most convenient for you. We have one location in Panorama City, that's the West Valley office. There's also a site in the South Bay in Torrance, and then the main office there on Wilshire, which is considered our Metroplex office, and that's to be where the plan check is conducted for County of Los Angeles Public Health for your food vendor permits. So one thing that is required if you are going to be selling food is having actually a commissary contract. So these are some of the items that you're going to need to present. So you've already had the cart inspected, it's been approved. These are the things that you now have to present to the county. Okay, I have county, I have a commissary contract, and we'll talk a little bit later about what that is. I have a route slip. So the route slip tells the county, this is where I'm going to be selling my tacos, my pupusas, my ice cream, my coffee. I'm going to go down this route and I'm going to stop my little cart in this location. So one, this protects you as the vendor from other competition. And in general, I just make sure that we have equal distribution so that we have our vendors being able to sell their items. So you're going to take all this information with you to the Department of Public Health. And the unit there is the environmental health, the plan check program, right? The address there is on 5050 Commerce Drive in Baldwin Park, as we've been sharing before. So the commissary requirements, what are those commissary requirements? If you have a cart, you actually are required to have access to this commissary. And that's where you're going to store your food, your containers, any of your supplies. That's also where you're going to leave your little cart. You're going to prepare the packaged food there. So if you're going to be selling fruit, you're going to cut it up there and put it into the little containers. You won't be able to be actually cutting up the fruit out in the community. It needs to be done in the commissary. You'll also be washing your utensils there, any of the equipment that you'll need to prepare the food. This is where you're going to drain the liquid waste and garbage and refill your clean water tanks. And again, every night at the end of the day, when you finish a successful day of vending, you're going to leave your storage cart there, and in the morning, pick it up again and start the whole process again. So that's what the commissary is. So what is it going to cost me? Well, here is a breakdown of the cost to operate under the regulations from the city. So as you can see here, it depends on whether you're selling food that you're going to be preparing out in the community, limited preparation, or is it going to be something that's already been prepackaged? So the plan check, regardless of whether you're selling a hot dog or whether you're selling ice cream or potato chips, is $746 to approve and to review your plan of your cart. And then your annual permit will be $772. Now below are the fees for an individual who's selling something that's already prepackaged, like say potato chips or ice cream that's already wrapped in some plastic. You also will pay the $746, your plan check fee, which your ongoing cost every year will be $393. So this permit is for 12 months. So every year, this is what you will be paying: $772 for somebody who's preparing food, and then $393 for an individual who's selling prepackaged food. Again, this is for your public health permit. So these are familiar stickers. If we've gone out to restaurants, we're familiar with a different type of sticker, though there's also something similar for individuals who are selling our food in the community. The certification of stickers are approved and they are attached to carts. So that's your way of knowing as a consumer when you're going to be purchasing is, does the person have one of these stickers on their cart? And the difference between the two is the type of food that you're actually going to be selling. And this needs to be affixed in a visible spot so that the consumer can see it, and also when the inspectors come by. So the one on the left, the yellow one, is affixed onto carts that allow for limited fruit preparation, right? So there could be, again, your tacos, your pupusas. The one on the right, the green, is going to be on carts that are going to be selling the prepackaged foods. The ice cream that's wrapped in some plastic, maybe some cookies that are wrapped in plastic, potato chips, soft drinks. Those are the difference between the two, and then need to be, again, in a visible spot. In addition to these stickers, The County of Los Angeles also has additional stickers that need to be affixed to the carts, and we'll see those images now. Those stickers that have to be attached to the carts are very similar to what we see in restaurants. So they are the A, B, C. If we could take a look at that slide now, please, that will show us a difference in the cart. So there you see, as I said earlier, this is where you're going to be affixing the cart so that the carts are in a visible spot. Our next slide is going to then show us the other stickers that are required. And these are the ones that we're very familiar seeing when we go to a restaurant. Well, the same is applicable to an individual who's selling food. You need to have this affixed to your cart. Just like a restaurant, you're going to want to do what's ever in your power to maintain that A standard, because we all know now more than ever, we're going to all be concerned for our health and safety. And so the person who's out there in the community making the choice between buying from this person selling pupusas or that other young lady selling pupusas, they're going to see one has an A, one has a B. They're going to go to A. So I encourage you to work as hard as you can to maintain that A. So again, these will be on your card as well, along with the yellow or the green sticker. So we know that there's a lot of information that we've covered regarding to the food permit. So I want you to be aware of some more details and also a site where you can get the additional information. Once you have secured the vendor permit, what is required now, and more than ever, it always has been required, but that when you set up a location for your food cart, it needs to be operating within 200 feet of an approved area where there is accessible toilet and hand washing facilities. As I said earlier, that permit needs to be renewed annually by the LA County Public Health. Now, this is something that we want you to be aware of as well. For the change of ownership of a cart that was previously approved by the environmental health, you can also schedule an appointment. So you might have an opportunity to purchase a cart that, just like a car, change of ownership, somebody has already gone through the process and had that cart permitted, and they no longer want to be sidewalk vendors. So you might find that there's somebody out there who's selling a cart. So what would happen here is that an appointment is made, the vehicle is inspected, the vehicle inspection team will then make sure that everything is matching from what's on the permit, that there hasn't been any changes to the actual food cart, and then they process the change in ownership just like you would a car. So for a copy of all this information, go on to the site that we shared below. The link is there, and we'll share that link as well. Now, if there are questions on specific topics, I wanted to also share phone numbers that you would have through this process, important for you to have. First, for guidance on the permitting of the carts, you would be calling the Vehicle Inspection Program. You see that number there at 626-430-5500. For guidance on the cart plan approval process, you would be checking with the Plan Check Program team, and their number 626-430-5560. The third number is important because we all need to be eyes and ears, and while you'll be out there as a permitted sidewalk vendor, you might be seeing some situations or scenarios where somebody is not abiding by the law or jeopardizing the health and safety of the community. So we need to have you vigilant and be our eyes and ears. And there's a customer call center. That's where you're going to be calling if you want to file any complaints for unpermitted food sidewalk vendors or anything, again, that could be jeopardizing the safety of our community. And their number is 888-700-9995. So important numbers for you to have as you go through this process of securing your vendor permit. So once you've gone through the process, you've received your permit from the city, Department of Finance, you've also received the seller's permit, and then you also secured the health permit from LA County. Now you're ready to get what's called the vendor permit, and you get that from the Streets LA team. Now this is the permit that you are going to, it's required that you actually go in person to complete this. So you would be calling their offices. It's by appointment only right now. These are the things you'll have to take with you. Again, we want you to take your government issued ID, the California driver's license, your passport, your foreign consulate ID. You're going to have that copy of the BTRC that was issued to you by the city of LA. You can also then have the copy of the California State Seller's Permit. If you're going to be selling food, then you're also bringing along that health permit that you just secured. Now, in terms of payment, they'll accept check, cash, or money orders only. So the line below, we don't have to worry about that for now. The fee of $291 has actually been extended. So instead of it going up to $541, the fee will remain $291 through next year, throughout 2021. So that's actually currently the fee to secure the Streets LA vending permit, $291. So the application that you're going to complete with the team there at Streets LA is there as I shared earlier. They're located in downtown Los Angeles on Broadway. They're inside the public health or public works department for the city of LA. And you'll be calling to make an appointment. It's by appointment only, so that they can actually take your look at review all your documents, and then take your picture ID and then hand that vendor permit to you. So there are a couple of differences in terms of the types of permits that you're going to be issued, the actual ID you're going to be determining whether you're going to be selling, and I want to be selling on the sidewalks in the community, or I want to be selling in the parks. Do I want to be selling food, or do I want to be selling merchandise, or do I want to be selling both? So as you can see at the top, you see the differences in terms of the individual and the type of ID that they're receiving. The person to the left has determined that they want to sell food, and they have the authorization to be selling on the sidewalk because they see the little emblem from Streets LA. The ID in the middle is a person who has chosen to sell, he's going to sell essential items, and he only wants to sell them in the parks. So there you see the emblem there from the parks. To the right is somebody who said, you know what, I'm selling right now food, but I also want to have the option. I want to keep my options open. I also might want to be selling some essential items, maybe masks, maybe caps. And right now I might be wanting to sell on the sidewalk. And when things change a bit, maybe I want to go into the park. So what we recommend right now is actually go in there. It doesn't cause you additional fees that will be implemented, but tell them that you want both sidewalk and park. If you are a food vendor, you want to ask for both because, again, your circumstances might change, and you want to have the ability to be able to pivot and be able to sell food as well as being able to sell essential items if that opportunity should arise. So take note of that, and those are our recommendations. So more of that as well is in reference to the tags that you'll see depending on the type of product, food, or merchandise. What I do want to stress for those individuals that are going through the process of ultimately your goal is that you want to sell food, but we just talked about the fact that that process takes 4 weeks and maybe takes a little longer. But perhaps you have an opportunity right now, tomorrow, because some of these you could actually complete in one day. Maybe I could be selling, and I could, side hustle. I could be selling some masks. I could be selling some t-shirts, caps. So I would recommend a person to take out the merchandise permit right now while you're waiting to get your food vendor permit. It's not going to cost you any more. You're going to be grandfathered in. That means that I'll be able to then sell either item while I'm waiting to complete my food permit. So that is our recommendation, is secure the merchandise permit, get that in your hands, and that might give you some opportunities in the meantime while you're waiting to get the food permit. You could have access to sell other essential items that are very much needed in your community. So just some suggestions for you. So we're now saying that you've received your permit. We want you to be successful and to prosper. There are a couple of rules and regulations that I want you to start becoming aware of because this is something that will be enforced by the inspectors when they are in our communities. So first of all, the vendors must possess always your business, your tax, your health permits. So for instance, if it's somebody who's selling food, and as I shared, it could be a family and has multiple people selling, you want to make sure that all of you have those permits. We have the no vendor zones. Those are going to be enforced. So make sure that when you see those things, you don't set up your little cart there or selling your essential items. It's not allowed. Pick up after yourself, recycle, trash. If you're selling The items that have food, keep everything bagged. You want to keep your sidewalks free and clear, because we always want to ensure that our pedestrians are safe. And if there's people that are walking with a wheel, with a cane, or somebody who's in a wheelchair, that those people are protected. And again, for our food vendors, you must follow the state laws on vending, because they are the ones that ultimately you need to be following. So again, always have reminders again, have all those permits. If it's the sister going out today, make sure the sister has her permits and not her mom's permits. You need to have your permits and up to date with you. Following slide, they're just some reminders of what we talked about earlier. No vending zones. We see a lot of these around areas like LA Lives, Dodger Stadium, Placito Olvera. Those are some of the areas that are not permitted to sell, but be very vigilant, because there are fines if you're found parked in an area that you should not be selling. Pick up your trash. There are some times where you're not able to recycle some of if you're a food vendor, and some of the liquids will have to be recycled back at the commissary, so be aware of that. Always keep things secured and bagged. We want to make sure that we don't have any insects or rodents being attracted to the things that we have out while we're trying to sell our items. And again, I can't stress this enough, is making sure you remain keep an area that's open now more than ever. We need to ensure as well that our vendors are keeping that 6 feet of separation in terms of assuring our safety with COVID. Much more important than ever is always keeping that separation. And we have more information on the website that our vendors will have to be aware of in terms of keeping that safe distance. This pertains to keeping walkways open for the pedestrians or anybody who's coming through in a wheelchair. And follow the state laws. Laws. If once you have a permit, it's your responsibility to be aware of the things that are actually in place. So here are a couple of questions, and we're going to go to some of your questions a little later. But these are some of the questions that we have been asked in the past. So who needs a permit? Well, anybody who sells food or merchandise on City of LA sidewalks and city parks requires a permit. And so why do I need a permit? Well, it protects you as a vendor and ensures the health, safety, and welfare of the residents and the visitors as well. And how often do I need to renew my permit? Well, every 12 months, the permit needs to be renewed. And as I said earlier, what if I don't get a permit and I just choose to sell? Vendors will be fined anywhere between $250 to $1,000. So make sure that you have those permits with you. In terms of the locations, there are the addresses. I said at the time, you can't go in, you'll have to be calling. But those are addresses for the future for contacting the folks from the city, the county, and public health. Again, reminder that the only time that you'll be visiting in person will be to secure your seller's permit, your vendor permit with the Streets LA team, and that is by appointment only. So I know there's a lot of information here, and just want to again then remind you that the cost for the vendor permit will remain in effect into 2021. There might be some other changes as we all work towards staying safe and revitalizing our communities again. The county health department and the city of LA are currently working on ways to simplify the process for acquiring the vendor permit. We're looking at potentially having designs already pre-approved for various options for food carts. I say somebody who's selling coffee, somebody who's selling fruit, selling tacos. So if we have plans that are already pre-approved, then a vendor can then follow those plans. It might even cut down the cost of actually having to pay for the review of those permits. They're also having conversations on how do we find alternatives to the commissaries. We're looking at identifying kitchens in our community, at churches and schools. If you happen to know of any, please let us know that these kitchens can be used by our vendors for food preparation. Excuse me. There's also additional resources that are being looked at for our vendors. So just some updates here that we have. In addition to that, we have new opportunities for our sidewalk vendors, just like we have for our restaurants. So what is LA Al Fresco? So LA Al Fresco is a temporary program that streamlines requirements and approvals all across the multiple city departments for outdoor dining on sidewalks. You've probably already seen that. So not only on sidewalks, but also parking lots and on the city streets. Now, what the program does, it aims to help local businesses reopen while allowing customers and employees to maintain that physical distance, which is recommended by the Public Health Department. And it's doing this by temporarily relaxing many rules and regulations that pertain to outdoor dining. So what kind of options are available with the Al Fresco program? Well, first of all, the LA Al Fresco program options currently include different types of public and private space that could be turned into outdoor space and very creative ways of turning that outdoor area into dining area. And this is part of the COVID-19 emergency plan. You can either convert private parking lots and turn those into outdoor eating spaces, sidewalks, the street parking spaces. Those are called parklets. So that would be the areas where normally we would have lines and you'd be paying to feed your meter. Those are called parklets. They could have some sections of streets that are actually closed, lane closures, and then also complete streets. So actually, this is open not only to our restaurants, but also to permitted sidewalk vendors. So if somebody is selling pupusas and tacos and already has secured your health permit and has your vending permit and you're an approved vendor, you're able to partake in this. And what this means is that you can then bring a small table or a couple small tables, a couple of chairs, and you could be preparing your pupusas and your hot dogs, your taquitos, and you can set up some tables and chairs, and your customers can actually sit down and enjoy what you have to offer. If we have groups of organizations, say like the Chamber of Commerce, East LA, Bull Heights, a nonprofit, they could secure a permit on behalf of the vendor so that you can go in there and say, we want this street, we want this lane, because there's multiple people, there's more than 3 people. So those are other options that we have. There's a process down below. There's the email address, the website address. If there are interest, we actually will help you. Our team can help walk you through that process and hold another webinar on securing the LA Al Fresco. A big push right now to provide this opportunity to our communities hit hardest, our African American and our Latino communities. I strongly encourage, if you're a restaurant, take part in this. If you're a permitted food vendor, also partake in this. And you can, again, bring along a table, a couple of chairs, and your customers will have a place to sit down as well. So lots of opportunities that I hope you take advantage of. So we know social media is what brought us together today, the wonders of social media, and we want social media to be the way that you stay connected to us for any updates that we're going to have. We ask you to and encourage you and invite you to join us on the following sites. We have a Facebook page through business, the Bureau of Street Services. There's also an Instagram page, a Twitter page, and a great resource for you will be the website. That's at vending.lacity.org. And there you're going to find all the information that we talked about today in the presentation. It's actually going to be in the resource guide. You can download that. It's in 13 languages. With your phone, your handy phone, what would we do without our phones? With the QR code, that'll help direct you to the website, and you'll be able to then download that information that you need that we talked about earlier. So there, if you have friends that speak other languages, I encourage you to share this information. We have translated the resource guides into 13 languages, and we want all of our communities. We know that this is what makes Los Angeles great, is the diversity in our cultures and the foods, and the more vendors we have that represent our different communities, the more successful everybody will be. So I encourage you to share this with your colleagues that might not be aware of the vendor permit program, and visit the website for that information. There's lots that we covered, and I'm excited that we had this opportunity with you today with our friends to share this information, to create new opportunities for our community, that maybe this is something you hadn't thought of because you had a traditional job, or you had another job, we're thinking about being an entrepreneur. As I said before, there's essential items that are very much needed in our communities. Not everybody has access to the types of stores that they might be in other areas. So you could be, in essence, helping your community and also creating a separate stream of income, selling essential items in your community. So we're going to open it up to some questions if anybody has. I know there was a lot of information that we covered, and hopefully it was helpful to you as well.
Thank you so much, Angelica. Dorima, I know I did answer some questions live, yes, but I don't know if you want to go ahead and read some of the ones that I didn't answer.
Yes, so I tried to see. First off, thank you, Angelica, for this amazing information. I was taking notes, but also trying to
You're welcome.
copy all the questions. I mean, we're getting a lot of questions, a lot of comments, so trying to monitor all of that. But I mean, that's really good.
Let me help you with 2 or 3 that I think are important questions.
Okay.
Like for example, there is a question: if I'm a veteran, do I get any discount?
Yes.
For right now, the fee is across the board the same rate. Not to say that's why you should stay connected to our website if things should change in the future, but for the time being, the fee is the same for all of our residents.
Perfect. Yes. What do you consider not food? What type of merchandise can we sell in a food cart? Not in a cart, sorry.
So essential items could be anything that you're not going to be consuming, as long as it's legal. So t-shirts, caps are essential items right now in demand. Obviously, face masks. You might be, maybe your family, maybe your friends are making face masks, and while you could sell it online, but now you have a chance to actually be in front of people. You could be selling face masks, you could be selling gloves. If you have some cleaning products that you have, you're able to be the lucky ones that have wipes, t-shirts, caps. There are some people actually that sell clothes as well. So again, it's as long as it's set up in a place, you're abiding by the rules, because once you do get permitted, you'll be told the configuration of where you can be, actually how far from a curb. So there's things that you need to keep in mind as well. But for the most part, most things are eligible under the merchandise items.
Cool. Do you need a permit to sell just from a table and a cooler?
Yes. First of all, the table, the cooler, I don't know if the cooler would be to be selling something that should be considered food, and that won't be allowed. So that actually, the cooler would not be allowed. That needs to be through public health clearance, but you will be able to have a table. Again, there'll be some limitations in terms of where you can place that. That's for another workshop, not in front of a school, making sure you're not too close to a bus stop, not blocking traffic. So yes, you can set up the cooler. You need to look into with public health.
I just wanted to clarify 2 things. One, there are a lot of questions of working from home. If you're going to work from home, it's a totally different story, and you need a totally different thing. So you can reach out to us at the SBDC, and we can help you start your business from home. Is different. This is for you to have a vendor card outside, or to do al fresco. That means outside as well, and that's how it is. So be careful with that. So it's 2 different things that you're talking about. This a home business is a business, and it has nothing to do with this. So just give us a call. We will help you for free. We will advise you. We will walk you through licenses and permits. The other question was if you can get a copy of this. Yes, we will be posting it. Ideal CDC has it on their website. We have it on our Facebook page. Sorry, Ideal CDC also in their Facebook page. So it's there. The presentation is there. But if you still want a copy or something, you can feel free to email me. I already gave you my email address in the Facebook page. Dorima, yes. I don't know if you see something else.
Most of the questions were around selling from home. A lot of the questions were from home. So that, and then I also see another question of what does BTRC stand for, and what is that for?
So that's actually your business tax, whatever city you have. Like if it's your tax, basically you're paying taxes. So it's showing me that I'm responsible. I'm going to be paying taxes.
Okay, great.
So it's your business license.
Business license. Okay.
Your tax, yeah.
Awesome.
Immigrants. There is another one, Dorima, for immigrants, people with without papers could apply for the food permit. Remember that you need to have at least an IT number. So if you have an IT number because you're paying taxes, yes, you can apply. Correct, Angelica?
So in this part, your legal status, it has nothing to do with actually securing these permits. As long as we have the I-10 or social security numbers, your legal status has nothing to do with this. We don't want to discourage our community.
Okay. Great. That's good to know. I mean, this is
Yes.
really good information, even just what you mentioned about churches, because we work a lot with the faith community.
Yes.
And a lot of them have kitchens and they sell from
Perfect.
the church, whether it's after service or during the week to collect funds. So knowing this information is very, very important for them, because the last thing they need is another fee or fine or get shut down because they don't know the rules, right?
Right. So I think it'd be great if there are some of these community kitchens that that you can identify that perhaps they do want to make some extra money, and it's sitting there not being used. What we're trying to do is minimize the cost for our vendor community, because obviously when they have to secure a commissary contract, that's going to cost them money. So the city and the leadership is really trying to find ways, how do we assist vendors through their needs in this process? And that's why, if we're aware of kitchens in the community that can be permitted, they would have to go through a permitting process. Then actually our vendors could go there to prepare the foods to be selling in our community. So I ask you to please keep that as well. Keep us aware of anything that you might know that could fit this need.
Great. And those are, I guess those are the most, I see the same questions. I'm sure you saw them too, Claudia. Is like, can we get a copy of the presentation? Does this apply for food? Also, another question that just came in, is this the same permit for farmers market? Because, there's a lot of vendors that go to a farmers market. Would that apply?
So these are separate, whatever you're going to be handling through a farmer's market, that are very separate, the regulations. So you would want to check to what is required there and what it is that you're going to be selling. And as per the information, actually not the presentation itself isn't, it's actually the business resource guide you can get from our website. So that's what we ask you to go through, because the business resource guide has all the information that we covered in our presentation. So that's normally what we're offering to our community, is the business resource guide.
Yeah. They can watch this presentation anytime, over and over, and then we will share what you really need to do and know in order to get all this. Do they, and just to end, because I know we are top of the hour, do they need separate permits for different locations, or one permit will suffice for any locations around the LA County or city?
So as it pertains to food, we talked about for the food, you would have one, it's the individuals are permitted in the cart. So if it's the food cart, you will have to then provide the county with your route. Remember, we talked about the route. You'll have to tell them, this is a lane I'm going to be in. I'm going to be selling my pupusas on the street. Mm-hmm. So you would have to then work with them on, in this case, it might be multiple carts. As it pertains to having multiple locations for merchandise, again, you're permitting the individual. So you're permitting the person to have that. So if I want to be selling my masks in Bull Heights and I also want to be in Highland Park, I can be, but again, I can't be there in two places at the same time. And so those individuals each have to have their own permit. So if I have a family, the family of 4, and they're going to be selling masks, each one of those family members needs to have their own permit. And yes, they can be multiple locations with their own permit.
Okay.
Yeah. Just clarification.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Angelica. Yes, Dorima.
Thank you both so much. I know we have a lot of questions and we can probably spend all day answering the questions.
Right.
But if you guys are here watching us right now live, please send us a message with your contact info so we can answer those specific questions for your business. I know a lot of you have been messaging me right now your email. If you haven't yet, send it over so that we can send that information to you. Again, thank you so much, Angelica. I would like for you to mention your website again. There's a few people asking, so if you can mention your website again so that people can obtain this. And Claudia, you too, if you guys can just mention real quickly how they can get in touch with you, how can they stay connected, if you have a Facebook page, how they can go and subscribe, so that they can continue receiving this information from you both.
Perfect. So City of LA, it's vending.lacity.org. And again, there you're going to have copies of the video. You're going to have resource information, the business resource guide, which makes it easier to follow everything we covered in the presentation. We condense it in one place. And then as we find fit, if the community wants us to focus on specific videos on specific topics, we can also then share those. So let us know the things that you want us to focus on in the future, and we can work on those presentations as well. So I wish you all much success in
Yes.
starting this journey as sidewalk vendors, and really look into the possibility of being part of the LA Alfresco program.
Yes.
And it's taking your vending cart experience to another new level, allowing the community to experience your tacos, your pupusas. You can set up a table with a couple of chairs, and just stay safe. And we're here to help you with whatever we can. Thank you again for having us today.
Yes.
Thank you. And for the SBDC, the phone number is 800-794-1402. We are in Facebook as Centro de Negocios SBDC, but everything is for free. So just give us a call. We will guide you. We will talk to you about whatever you need to do in order to start your business or to do this street vending, al fresco, food truck. Those are three different stories. So please keep that in mind, but we will explain you, we will guide you, so no problem. And we will see you at 1 o'clock again for the Spanish one. So whomever wants to repeat this in Spanish, more than welcome. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, so
Bye-bye.
please
Have a great day.
tune in at 1 for our Spanish one. Share it, invite your friends. But thank you both so much. If you have any questions, comment down below or send us a message. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you all at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.